Hey, Margie here. Did you know that practicing gratitude is one of the best things you can do for your health and well-being? There are so many health benefits to gratitude that most people are unaware of. And it's November, and in the United States, this is the month for Thanksgiving, where everybody thinks about what they're grateful for. So I thought it was the perfect opportunity to really take a deep dive into gratitude. And our special guest is Dr. Madiha Saeed. And Dr. Saeed, when she works with people with inflammation or health issues, the number one thing she does, the first thing she'll give them is to start a gratitude practice. So she's a perfect doctor to have talking about this topic. And she's also known as Holistic Mom, MD, on social media. She's a practicing board certified family physician in the United States, an international speaker, and the author of 6 best-selling books. She's the director of education for Documenting Hope and KnoWEwell. She sits on multiple medical advisory boards, including Wellness Mama, and was the president of the International Institute of Islamic Medicine. Dr. Saeed and her children speak internationally at conferences. They've been on TV, both ABC, NBC, and CBS, and they talk on Summit, radio, podcasts, newspapers, and the United Nations recently published her paper on religion and the food system. Dr. Saeed's children host this really fun podcast that I've been on, the Holistic Kids Show. So in today's talk, we're going to just talk about gratitude, why it's important, as well as how we can bring more gratitude into our lives. So it's a fun interview with lots of great information. Welcome, Dr. Saeed, to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here again. And the reason that I wanted to bring you back was because here it's almost Thanksgiving, and you use gratitude as a medical doctor in your practice. And I wanted you to share what you've seen and just how powerful this is, and just give everybody some ways they can incorporate this and, why they should as well. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so incredibly honored to be here and so thankful because gratitude is an emotion expressing appreciation for what we have. It's a universal concept in nearly all of world's spiritual traditions. So in the feeling of gratitude, the spiritual is expressed. So giving thanks to the supernatural power, benefactors, or others is probably one of the most effective ways to get in touch with their soul. And being thankful helps to create this subconscious world of positivity that really governs 90% of our thoughts and actions. And it actually, the positive energy boosts optimism, which in turn helps prevent disease and improves our immune system, well-being, and sense of even happiness. So gratitude is not just some feel-good action, but practicing it daily, yes, around Thanksgiving and even after, is proven to have actual physiological consequences. So it's probably one of the most powerful things that I do in my own practice.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what I've seen in my, working as a physical therapist and health coach, that gratitude is just so, so powerful. But do you want to share some examples of how gratitude has helped people improve their health?
Absolutely, because studies have actually shown that it helps lower inflammatory markers, influence epigenetics, and even helps the heart. Actually, according to the study published in the American and Psychological Association in 2015, a grateful heart is also a happier and healthier heart, literally. They found that higher gratitude scores were proportional to better mood, higher quality sleep, more self-efficacy, and less inflammation, and also improved heart health. So gratitude makes us optimistic, and being optimistic improves our overall health and has been proven to improve our immune system and lower inflammation. But the thing is, then the opposite is also true. So if we are stressed, gratitude can also help, you know, bounce us back faster and focus on what really matters well in our lives. I mean, they have done so many more studies, specifically even on cancer patients who are optimistic. They predicted less destruction of their normal life, distress and fatigue. But those of them that were pessimistic we're likely to experience even thickening of the arteries. So, optimism has been found to correlate positively with the life satisfaction and even self esteem. So, we need to love each moment that comes to us and embrace this. I mean, there's an entire also study where they've done in the heart math. They have found that these heartfelt emotions like gratitude and love and caring produce sine waves or coherent waves that radiate to every cell of the body, all determined through this technology that measures changes in the heart rate variation and even measurements of coherence. And then research actually also showed that these depleted emotions like frustration, anger, insecurity, the heart rhythm pattern became more erratic, and the brain recognized this as stress. So this in turn create this desynchronized state, raising the risk of developing heart disease and increased blood pressure, weakening the immune system, impairing cognitive function, and even blocking our ability to think clearly. Isn't that crazy?
I
But
can't agree with you. I know. It's such
yeah, it is
it
craziness. So, I mean, right now, especially in the world that we live in, it's constantly negative. It's telling us that we are never good enough, that constantly to, we're just stuck in this world because remember, happiness doesn't sell. So the world is constantly telling us that you shouldn't be happy and until you get this, 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 and this. But because happiness doesn't sell, we have to actually, and we're being brainwashed to be, negative. We have to make a conscious effort to stay positive so it can help our overall health and well-being and decrease stress and decrease unhappiness.
And it's so interesting because, when people are trying to improve their health and trying to make changes in conditions, and they come to you and the first thing you do is you give them, okay, let's start with gratitude. I do the same thing. That's one of the main components is reducing stress and increasing happiness. And people look at me like, really? And it's like, yes, really, because it's amazing the difference in the compliance. Once you feel better, you start wanting to do good things for yourself. But B, it just makes such a difference in, I saw that with chronic pain patients when I started teaching them some happiness habits that had helped me in the past. Wow, chronic pain got better so much quicker. So it's so, so powerful. And
It's
it's
so powerful. It's probably the one most powerful things that I do in my own practice over the last 15 years of practicing this type of medicine. Immediately when they wake up in the morning, I want to say focus on 10 things that they're thankful for every day. Because we need to change our subconscious from instead of thinking negative, because our subconscious governs 90% of our thoughts and actions, and it drives it to survive and thrive. It shapes our every behavior. But we are constantly bombarded by all this negativity. So training our subconscious to be more positive is probably the most powerful things that we can do. Because remember, the subconscious is nothing but these neural pathways that have been established in the brain as a result of past beliefs and conditioning. So your subconscious does really no thinking of its own, but rather it relies on the perception of the world around you, listening to verbal and nonverbal cues. So when you consciously turn negativity to positivity from the inside out, the neural pathways associated with that negativity it does take time to come down fully, but it's so critical to continue this gratitude regularly because your subconscious and your thoughts are powerful. And your unconscious negative thoughts can be really undermining your health, while positive thoughts can boost your immune system and heal disease.
Yes, it's so true. So during Thanksgiving, yes, it reminds everybody to be grateful for their food and this and that, but we can take it the next level and just incorporate that. Are there other ways? Yes, that's great. So step one is doing the 10 in the morning. Do you have any other ways that you incorporate it throughout the day?
Oh, absolutely. I also recommend sometimes for those people that are really stuck in a negative world that place those sticky notes of all the things that they're grateful for all around the house and objects that they're thankful for, creating the zone of subliminal positivity that can help train your subconscious. So you can place these sticky notes on photos of people that you love, your shoes, the mirror in your bathroom, lights, and so forth. So being thankful for simple things, things that you can take for granted in this internal and external world, things that can go well, people and events from the past that have helped you and who you become today. So focus on those happy memories is really important. And then the other things that I really love to do is journaling and writing about your life are, can be a really powerful exercise. Decorate your journal with things that remind you of your purpose in life and help you feel positive, like pictures and inspirational quotes. Write in your journal daily about 2 to 5 minutes. And after writing your gratitude list, you can even you have your like negative thoughts and then transform them into what is positive in those situations. So use gratitude to improve all of these negative situations and even expressing gratitude. Showing appreciation to those that have helped you in your daily life helps you and motivates others, and it creates this peaceful environment. And you can easily incorporate gratitude in any situation, and especially when you combine it with relaxation techniques, so deep breathing and walking outside. And, any of those can be really powerful. So it's positivity and gratitude is huge. And not only just trying to heal yourself from the inside out, but also lowering the chronic stress. Because I think a lot of times what happens is that a lot of us have dealt with trauma. And um and that trauma actually we can hold on to those. And forgiveness and gratitude and positivity and tries to understand other people's emotion, bringing compassion and passion into this because that can also help us to reframe the trauma and help us move closer to internal peace and healing and being able to forgive.
Oh, love that. It's interesting. There's a game that I like to play with people called the appreciation game, where you go around the table and you just say, what you appreciate about each person. And, it's also a type of gratitude just to be thankful for each person and just so, so, so powerful. And and you said something else about forgiveness, and that's a whole thing in itself in terms of being almost the opposite, holding on to things in terms of so much research has gone on to with that in terms of, the health consequences of that. So it's true. While we're being grateful, it's also a good time to let go of some grudges we may be holding and,
Absolutely.
you know,
And then being grateful can actually help us slowly start to, because when we start to focus on the positive parts of our life, it can actually help to lead to feelings of understanding and empathy and compassion, even for the one that has hurt you.
no, that's so
Again, but in order to forgive, I mean, that's like, it takes a long time, and to see a professional to help you with through that. But, you know, specifically, when now we're on this topic of forgiveness, I mean, the trauma has happened in your life and it's part of the story. It happened. But the gift wrapper the trauma came in was ugly and it made us angry and walk around it holding to this present with an ugly gift wrapper in shame, hiding it from the world, dragging us down as we are unable to reach our maximum potential because of this ugly gift from the environment, from the universe. But to learn to forgive, we must address the present, acknowledge that exists, and then just change the gift wrapper that it came in. And we must, change it to a prettier wrapper. And this then helps us to assign new meaning and a new positive label to the hurt. And I know that may sound crazy, but being even grateful for every person that's like another level of gratitude altogether. But being grateful for every person who has hurt you because they have made you who you are today. And this is literally a perfectly crafted chapter in your unique journey. So when one changes the gift wrapper, one can eventually resolve those negative charge that's attached to that event, allowing you to forgive yourself and others and really surrender yourself to the universe. And it takes years and it does take a lot of time. But that positivity and gratitude can allow you to even get to a depth of internal peace that you could never even imagined.
Wow, you said so many interesting things there in terms of with forgiveness. And I think something that people don't realize all the time is that in terms of, they feel they have to condone the action, and that's not it at all. It's not that you're condoning what happened, but I think with everything, there's always a gift, there's always a silver lining. And sometimes it's really hard, but you said something beautiful, like you're the person you are. And when we grow, our biggest challenges cause our biggest growth. And so that when we've gone through this challenge because of whatever happened, there are certain positives that have happened and growth that has happened. And when we can see that and focus on it, it really does make a very big difference. And I've seen, because I work with muscles, and I've seen not forgiveness really manifest itself in the body. And it's just amazing. And sometimes it's been simple, it doesn't always take years, where people just decide, okay, and they write a forgiveness letter or they do a practice. And, it's just so incredible, the difference. So I'm so glad you brought that
Absolutely.
up, because it's just so, so, so powerful. And we're so on the same wavelength in
Mhm.
terms of just how this can change. Here you are, a medical doctor, and this is such an important piece of your practice, which for a lot of people, they were like, what? Do you get that reaction sometimes? Like, is that really what you want me to do?
Absolutely, because you're like, in medicine, we have sort of compartmentalized that. Like that's gratitude and positivity. We or like spiritual health. We do not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But it's again, when I started to incorporate this with my patients, they're like, what? We came to you for really complicated things like a medication that's going to help fix it, but not recognizing that the traumas and the stresses and the negativity is actually what's really causing us to really fall slowly. And if we can just shift our mindset from a world of negativity to a world of positivity and gratitude, it can be probably the most powerful piece because your perspective can be your power or your perspective can be your pain. So now it is time to change our perspective from an area of pain to an area of power.
Oh, I love that. And I think this is the perfect time, because we are all thinking of gratitude. November, we're thinking of the people, at least in the United States, are thinking, but it's good for everybody. I think gratitude, as you say, should be just part of your life. It's just a constant attitude. It's not something that we should just like once in a while, oh yeah, let me do gratitude. All day long, whenever something happens, oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just grateful for, and it totally changes your life. I even like taking appreciation breaks where, you just, when you're taking a break, like, what am I appreciating today? Just the more you can get in with the gratitude, the more powerful it is. Wow. So I just wanted to share that. Is there anything else before we end that you wanted to say? I know we could talk forever on this, but I just wanted to share you as a medical doctor, and we know what you've seen in terms of the power of gratitude, because it it just is, it's good medicine. It's good medicine. And as we both believe, we're here for one life. We want it to be as happy, and we want to feel as healthy and happy as we possibly can. And just this little piece can truly make a huge difference.
Absolutely. When I have patients come, the first visit, and then when they come the second visit, they're like, nothing's improved. Right. And then we go through the list and we're like, you know what? Look, there's all these things that have improved, you know, because when we start to shift our focus to things that are going wrong in our life, we're never going to improve. But if we start to shift our focus on the things that have improved in our lives, that's when we allow our mental and physical and psychological healing to truly occur. Because that is probably the one of the powerful things that I've ever seen work is to really help you grow and succeed is through those steps of incorporating gratitude So then you can focus on that one symptom because, yes, we're all dealing with trauma, we're all dealing with problems, but then there's a million things that are going right in our lives. Our eyes are working, our nose is working, our lips may be working, we have a roof over our head, we have shoes on our feet, we have clothes on our back. These are all things that we can be thankful for. They may not be big things, but the thing is, for someone who doesn't have them, they are pretty big things. Um, these are small, itty bitty things that if we can focus on, oh my gosh, yes, we may be dealing with this chronic health condition. I may be dealing with chronic pain. We may be dealing with all these things. But yes, you're right. My hair, you know, the roof over our head, the shoes in our feet, the water that we have to drink, the food that we can eat. These are all things that we need to be thankful for. And that's probably the most powerful thing is to shift that world and that perception that we have from a state of negativity to a state of positivity. And it does take time, but it's probably, again, the powerful thing that we can do.
Yeah, and you're speaking my language. So before we end, I just want you are superwoman. First of all, Dr. Madiha is how many weeks pregnant?
39 weeks pregnant.
And how many people do you cook for on a regular basis?
9 every day, so 10, I guess the ones that's in my belly is 10. So, but 9 every day, and the weekends I can go to 20.
And I know we know each other, and she truly is calm. She truly is happy and healthy. And I know we're not going to go into the story, and you've talked about that on the podcast before, how you got into this not being healthy and having all sorts of problems yourself. But you're just such a role model. And just talk about your recent books, because I think that's so. I want to just share that because they're really good resources. Why don't you just tell everyone about the first book you wrote?
So the first book that I wrote was called The Holistic RX, Your Guide to Healing Chronic Inflammation and Disease. Follow-ups, that note one was The Holistic RX for Kids, Parenting Healthy Brains and Bodies in a Changing World. Then we wrote 2 children's books, 3 actually. I have a third one on the way. And so it's called Adam's Healing Adventure from Sickness to Health. And then we have is the others, and then I have for the Muslim world. So the pandemic prescription when the pandemic came out, but the Quranic prescription, Unlocking the Secrets to Optimal Health, is the first health book for the Muslim world worldwide. So that's a global bestseller. And and then I have one on gratitude for the children that's coming out in February. So yes, that is really, really exciting. Adam's Healing Adventure, Gratitude is a Superpower, is the one that's coming out in February. My kids have their own podcast called the Holistic Kid Show Podcast. My mother-in-law has a channel called the Holistic Urdu MD channel. We are creating courses and apps. I have a practitioner course. I have, the kids have their own Real Healing for Real Life Kids course. So lots of things, lots of ways that they can keep in touch and grow and heal alongside me.
Oh, I'll love that. I love that. And I'll have the links for everybody in the show notes. But I just am so grateful to you for our friendship and just for doing all this amazing work. I can't even imagine the millions of people that you have impacted from sharing. Your first book is like an encyclopedia. If you want to know anything, you just go there and there's a whole list of exactly what you do. And it's very powerful. And for everybody with bone health who's listening, there's all sorts of just great information for really anything that ails you. But it's so helpful. But all the books are great, and for children to really get that information, it's so helpful. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's always such a pleasure, and I can't wait for your new bundle of joy. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
I'm so incredibly honored. Thank you so much for having me.
I always love being with Dr. Saeed. She has so much positive energy. And I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. And now are thinking about gratitude, how you can really put it into your life and even expand upon it. Because as Dr. Saeed said, there's so many medical benefits. Besides, you're going to be so much happier and it will just really add another dimension to your life. I promise you. So thanks so much for tuning in. All the links Dr. Saeed talked about will be in the show notes. And I'm just very, very grateful for all of you who listen to the podcast. And I've been able to expand it and reach more people because of you. So thank you so much. And I really look forward to seeing you on the next episode.